They do their thing, you do your thing. It's your resistance that's pulling them. It's getting you caught up. That's the web that the mind is creating, and it's catching you into it more and more, and you die in your own web. It doesn't mean this is not existing. Whatever is happening on the screen is there, but it's not what it appears to be. It's not that those things are God. It's all Brahman. God is. Everything is not. Any questions or comments you can ask now, but perhaps we answer them later. Anything? Any thoughts? Good. All right. I think we have to watch a little video now, right, Pramod? I'm so grateful you do this. Me too. I'm so grateful you joined, because if you didn't, I'd be reading and then going, talking to myself. You do realize, right? Everything is a mirror. You love support and I love and support. It goes together. It doesn't happen. There's no two. So it's all sort of, especially when we're discussing this. You understand? It's one energy. It's this one flow. And yes, you're on that side of the screen and I'm on this side of the screen, but there isn't one person I'm talking about on the duplicity sense, one person that's moving this forward. It's one entity that's moving this forward. And I don't just say this, I'm not one for this sort of false palaver, quite the opposite. So you do have to know that whatever is happening here is because of grace that brings this moment together, the good, great fortune of having this opportunity to just, just mention the name alone is a big fortune. I think so. Don't you think so? It's a huge fortune, And I feel like time is ripe for us to be here. I've wanted this, I don't know for how long, and it wasn't happening. And now it's happening. Why? Because somewhere along the way, the universe said, okay, let's give this to them, So, Mala, we're at chapter 4, maybe somewhere around 18 or 19.
Yes, the 20 we've chanted, but we can do that. Yeah, 18, 19.
Okay, we'll start with verse 20. You can chant that, Mala. Okay, let's go there.
त्यक्त्वा कर्मफलासङ्गम् नित्यतृप्तो निराश्रयः कर्मण्यभिप्रवृत्तोऽपि नैव किञ्चित् करोति सः.
He who, having totally given up attachment to actions and their fruit, no longer depends on anything in the world and is ever content, does nothing at all, though fully engaged in action. He who, having totally given up attachment to actions and their fruit, no longer depends on anything in the world and is ever content, does nothing at all, though fully engaged in action. I think I've spoken about this, like torn it into pieces, but you are clear that he's talking about the state of enlightenment and all that we've discussed in terms of action and inaction. Yes? We don't need to elaborate on this so much. No, we've been discussing it since the last maybe 3 sessions. Yeah? Continue.
निराशीर्यत चित्तात्मा त्यक्त सर्व परिग्रहः शारीरं केवलं कर्म कुर्वन्नाप्नोति किल्बिषम्.
Having subdued his mind and body, and having given up all objects of enjoyment, free from craving, he who performs sheer bodily action does not incur sin. Are you clear? They're pretty clear in the way that we've discussed them. Having subdued his mind and body means what? The senses are not running the person. No? Desires, senses, I like, I don't, oh, I want to see, I want more of this, I should have this. Looking for fulfillment is not happening through any of the senses. When the senses are under control, when the body is not running after likes and dislikes, when that has happened, where did it go? Given up all objects of enjoyment means it's not you're not running to do actions because of you want pleasure, right? We've talked about this also. Joy is there, pleasure is there, contentment is there, it's within you. Action is a natural flow. What does an enlightened do? He acts. You see, Gurudev, there's nobody more active than Gurudev. You know, million people following behind him are exhausted, but he's still going. Yes? But their actions are for, what did Krishna say long ago? I take birth when dharma, when disorder, when the knowledge is lost. You remember that? So when that has to be revived, then for the greater good for the world in general, but also for the greater good of those who are seeking, and where the knowledge has become complicated, it's gotten lost from one speaker to the one listener to one student to the next, then again and again they come, they're acting, they're doing what has to be done, but not for their gain. Yes, that's what this is saying, again and again in different ways. Free from craving. I want, oh, now the whole world should do the course. We might hear it that way. No, see, you all go out, teach everyone, see what you can do. But there's no attachment, there's no craving to that. It's a natural impulse out of love, out of compassion, out of oneness. It's like if I see that we're all one, I see your body and my body at the same, I'm hungry, I feed myself. But if I see you as me, then I also want to feed you. Are you following what I'm saying to you? It comes from this impulse. It is not out of the impulse of me here and other, and now let me save them versus me. It is not like that. That's the only way to be free. It's an interesting question or idea to, for a moment, to pause upon and realize that we have this notion, oh, we're doing seva and Guruji wants all this knowledge to get to everyone. And we see everyone as other, as separate, but he does not come from that perspective. For him, you suffering, quote, you, is the same as him suffering in that sense. There's only one. And it's out of the natural flow of I take care of whatever is me. That's all he's doing. Taking care of Piku, oh, taking care of Galina, oh, taking care of Nimisha. They're the same, just called different names. It's like the 5 different fingers. They appear separate. Their sizes and shapes and purpose and use is separate, different. But it's part of one hand. So if I wash my hand, I'm now taking care of that finger versus that finger. We don't come from separation from this enlightened state. Are you with me? So the statement is, he who having totally given up attachment to actions and their fruit, this we've discussed. We like some action, we don't like some action. We want some action, we don't want some action. We run after some results, we don't want certain results. He's given all that up, he, she, it. Yeah? no longer depends on anything in the world. Where's our dependency? Ask yourself this question. Where is our dependency? Forget people. We have our own dependency in our own thoughts, do we not? I like this, I think this, I believe this, I don't believe this. How can you do that? We're so dependent on our own little ideas, our own little point of view, perspective. And that's because they're mine. Are you following what I'm saying? Do you hear? We have not given that up. There's a dependency on matter. Remember the movie and the screen example that we've been discussing? For the movie to exist, there's only one dependency. What? The screen. Without the screen, the movie cannot be seen, experienced. It's only one. But imagine if the characters in the movie that's being played on the screen start believing that they have something to do with the other. They create a dependency. They create this sense that you exist because of me, or this happened because of that or the other person. When that is there, naturally what happens? We move our actions through I like it, I don't like it. We push for some results and we push away certain other results. He who, having totally given up attachment to actions and their fruit, it's not that they gave up action, they gave up attachment to action. Be clear. An attachment to the fruit. It's not that they don't have fruits or the results of their actions. It's they're not attached to it, not in resistance, not in craving. No longer depend on anything in the world. Just the self, the screen. Ever content. Not once this happens, I'll be happy. Ever content. No matter what action, no matter what result. No action or only action. They're content. Ever content. Does nothing at all. So then they, even though they're acting, because they're free, it's as if they're doing no action. There's no karma, there's no bondage, there's no consequence, not merit or demerit. Clear? And look, this sounds really quite hypothetical. Okay, well, I'm not there. Only the enlightened. So why give advice to the enlightened? I remember saying once to Gurudev, saying, Gurudev, all the scriptures are descriptive of what it is to be enlightened. We had done the Upanishads and, Ashtavakra, Niranjana. The dude got it, the very first verse. What is there? He didn't have any questions. He didn't have any struggles. He was just getting tweaked, a little bit of refinement, Nichiketa, all of them, they're descriptions of the final state. Yes? See, I don't understand. They're written, so what? So you all can sit around and say, yeah, same thing happened to me. Yes, same thing happened to me. It's like a frat party. Yeah, me too. Yeah, you too. Yeah, let's write it down. That's how it feels. And then he says, yes, and we don't need it. I said, what's it written for? The descriptions of the experience when you finally reach the state. They're written for you. Oh, yes, but we don't need it. That's exactly what I'm saying. So those who do need it, and they hear, they are free from attachment, they're free from action, free from fruit. You're talking to this person who's not. So how do I get there? That is what makes Bhagavad Gita different. It's not just a descriptive. Arjuna is asking. There's a response coming. But we do know there is a way where at some point we realize, wait a second. Just like we've been discussing, where we open our consciousness to say, wait, who? I haven't been the one doing everything. I'm not so in charge as I think. Oh, yeah, my thoughts seem to be the reality, but I know my dreams are not reality. So then why am I giving so much importance to my thought? Do you see what I'm saying? You start to have this internal dialogue that doesn't create a thick web, like Gurudev said in one of the videos, no, like a spider who creates his own web, gets caught in its own web, dies in its own web. Remember that? You stop weaving the web when you start to break things down like this. Do you not find that that happens? Yes. Somehow there's a dismantling of something. Doesn't matter whether we are there or not. But we also have an example, Gurudev in front of us. That's why no matter what the result, if it pours rain at, Berlin WCF, he says we're having another one. Whether we have 1 million people or 100,000 people, we're having another one. It's always bigger. What? And the small mind, which resists action, which is attached to the fruit, has all its conversation about why we should, why we shouldn't, how this is ridiculous. What does he come up? Okay, I got to do it because he's the guru, but I don't get it. What is the point of all this? No. No. Okay, keep your advice. He could say that to us, but he sits there and listens also. That's a sign of one who has done exactly what I'm reading. And 2 legs, 2 hands, walking about, getting in the car, doing all the things we do, but something is radically different. What is that? Not weaving a spider's web. And everything is happening. One person coming out of Tamil Nadu, Papanas, whatever. Who's heard of this place? And look at that. Every leader in the country, all countries, top leadership somewhere along the way have shaken hands with him, right? Spiritual, business, political, you name it. There's nothing there. There's no disturbance there. Ever content. We have an example, having subdued his mind and body, having given up all objects of enjoyment. Does Guruji enjoy? Like nobody's business. Fully. What is? Oh, yes. What did you see? And then that came. Oh, we hear about that thing that he had an experience of for like the next 10 cities in the different tours. Everybody gets to hear about it. That definitely is a sign he enjoys. But the senses are subdued. They are not attached. They are not craving the gulab jamun like the story that I told you. He doesn't lose track of the fact that the joy itself is him. The joy, the source of joy is him. That is not lost. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? So don't think, we don't enjoy. No, I don't know anyone who enjoys curd rice. There's nothing like it. With a little bit of lemon pickle on the side. I mean, he enjoys, but it's not driving action, choices, decisions. Are you with me? That's amazing. Free from craving, he who performs sheer bodily action does not incur sin. Sin, what is sin? It's not like sin the way in the Catholic sense of the word means, is not caught in samsara. Sin in this sense is this notion of not getting caught up in merit or demerit. The doer and the enjoyer, karta and bhukta, that is the sin, meaning you get caught in the duplicity, the karma. Clear? All right, let's read further.
यदृच्छालाभ सन्तुष्टो द्वन्द्वातीतो विमत्सरः समसिद्धावसिद्धौ च कृत्वापि न निबध्यते.
The karma yogi who's contented with whatever is got unsought is free from jealousy and has transcended all pairs of opposites like joy and grief, and is balanced in success and failure, is not bound by his action. See, you elate when you're successful. Then whatever action you took has a consequence. You become the bhukta. You're the doer and the enjoyer. You earn either some merit or some demerit is not a good word, but merit means enjoyment, pleasure. These things come into life. Demerit means challenges, difficulties, suffering come into life. Is that clear? No, it's not the way it sounds. Free from jealousy, transcended all pairs of opposite like joy and grief, balanced in success and failure, is not bound by his action. Well, thank you very much, but really, how? We get it. We really get it. That person has no karma, they're not stuck in action, they don't have the consequence of the actions. Because they're not caught up in success or failure, joy or grief. They have transcended all pairs of opposite. Okay? How? No? Sometimes I've said this to Guruji, but Gurudev, you were born like this. How do you know what we go through? Huh? that's the response. Huh? You were born like this. But did I ever tell you his fly story? Do you know that story? No? So he told me this story at that time. When he was with Marishiji, he would go to, or some other saint, I don't know, but I know that Gurudev used to go to this hut where this saint was. And Gurudev didn't like to go there because there were flies in that kutir or in that hut where this saint lived. You know this story? Some of you know? Pramod knows. Kushpinder knows, yeah. So he would go there and, there would be these flies and it would be like, when he was a young boy, they were shown a movie in school where there's a fly and it lands on trash can and it lands on like dog poo-poo and it lands on, this other thing and then it lands on the chapati in this case or pizza in some other cases and then you eat it. And are you with me? And he saw this movie and it must have created not contentment with the fly, not for anything else, but the hygiene, So when he would have to go there, it would not be okay. And so he went and, he would just keep shooing the flies, like probably not as frantically as I'm even appearing because you know how everything is in slow motion. So he would move the flies. And that saint who was in that hut said to him, "Let them be." And Gurudev said, and then I understood, and they never bothered me anymore. Did you all get it? Let them be. Oh, okay. And I was just kind of looking. What? Let them be. They do their thing, you do your thing. It's your resistance that's pulling them. It's getting you caught up. That's the web that the mind is creating, and it's catching you into it more and more, and you die in your own web. He stopped creating that. It was just like, tada, like Mahavakya, let them be. You know, when I first went to India, so the ashram, there was this place called Narayan Kutir. So Gurudev's old Shakti Kutir is up above. And just below it used to be this meditation hall. I don't even know what to call it. Basically 10 people could fit there. It had banana leaf roof. And on the floor, when you enter, exactly in front was a just like a 3, maybe 4-inch high little square made out of cement built into the floor, you know, like a seat. Are you following me? And Gurudev would sit there, and we would have satsang sometime when we first went there in the afternoon, you know, meditate, and it would rain. It would be pouring rain in Bangalore, and if, for those of you who have not been there, sometimes the rain is like, it's vertical. No, it's horizontal, not just vertical. Like it just flies, and it's long, big drops. I don't know if the wind stretches them out, or the gods, you know, pour more water out of their eyes there. I don't know, but it's huge drops of rain. And I would be sitting there, quote, meditating. It's hard, cold floor. It's raining, you know, it's kind of damp feeling, and the princess is not liking it so much, you know. And dip, dip, it would leak. And it would not leak like over there or on the thigh where you're kind of, you know, in the annoying place, like dip. So you go a little like this, dip. On the other side, dip. You go back a little, dip on the nose, somewhere, just, so you move. Where it looks dry, it looks completely dry there. There is a little square, you know, you go move there. Dip, dip. It would rain, it would drip on you somewhere, ear, like some shoulder, you know, some annoying place. You know how certain drips you can manage, and certain other ones, oh, get off of me, stop it. Yes? And Gurudev, stillness. Also, there's nothing dripping there. It's dry, you know? I'm new. I'm this 25-year-old kid who went there because he said, come to India. Okay, I'll go have an adventure. Ooh, went to India. Come, I'll show you the ashram. Ooh, okay, I'll see the ashram. There's no trees, the dry rocks. Okay, fine. No, it's a garden. Fine. Let's go meditate. At least I know after the meditation I'm going to get a coconut water and a sliced up papaya. So yeah, good. Okay, let's go. And he would be meditating. I would switch again. It wouldn't drip, but some water from somewhere would come running down where you're sitting. Like that. There's nothing worse than that, you know? So you get up, and then at some point I realized, well, closest to him, there's no water. There's no drip, drip. There's nothing. So I get up, and I gently, because I think he's deep in meditation, and I quietly, I go and I sit, and I at least put my head a little towards, you know, so there's less drip, drip. Let it be. It didn't have the same impact as let them be with the flies. Let it be. So I don't know if I got it or not, but I just figured, okay, I got myself up. I sat down where it was, there was a puddle, and it was dripping full on. You know, like where you would put a bucket, because if it was your inside of your house, because it wasn't drip, I figured, okay, just, I don't know if that meant let it be or not, but I just figured if I get wet, I'm done. I go and sit there. The rain stopped. I don't want to say I made the rain stop. That's not my intention. I'm just saying that I had to give in to it, you know? And perhaps that somehow frees us up from, I want this, I don't want this, I want this, I don't want this, constantly going back and forth to say, this is what is right now. Go with it. I'm not the example of that, but you're catching the story, right? The point of the story, yes? Drip, drip. So next time your mind is weaving a web, you'll remember drip, drip. In your own head, you will see it will stop something. Drip, drip. Sometimes somebody else is going on and on weaving a web. You say drip, drip. What did you say? No, 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 nothing. Just say it out loud though. Drip, drip. You know, find a way out. Gurudev finds joy in anything and everything because the joy is him. It's him. The lightness of being is him. Yes? Go ahead, Mala.
Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasaha yajnaya charata karma samagram praviliyate.
All his actions get dissolved entirely. Who is free from attachment and has no identification with the body and free from the feeling of mine, whose mind is established in the knowledge of self, capital S, and who works merely for the sake of sacrifice. You see, they're just describing in various different ways the state of one who is enlightened, who takes action, who does everything in the world. He's encouraging, he's telling Arjun, do what you have to do. You know, today, I forgot the Trilokji. He runs the Gita in the morning, and he said something in a very succinct sentence, which we've discussed, but it's in this moment worth repeating, which was, it's a battle between moh and kartavya. Kartavya is duty or responsibility. Is that a good translation? Nandan, yeah, Vishnu? So it's the Gita, which you remember very early on, about me and mine, right? It's a conflict between me and mine and kartavya, responsibility. And oftentimes, when we have a craving, when we want certain things to be a certain way, or when we have an aversion, or we're afraid, or we're not willing to just give our 100% and just see whatever happens, we rationalize our kartavya. We make it a duty, a responsibility, you know. And I was, as I was hearing, I was really reflecting for myself. When have I thought, no, this is seva and I have to do this, to justify my attachment to perhaps a position? And then after I hung up, I have this habit of sometimes taking sticky notes, and I write down specifically the example that I'm thinking of. And when I go back and forth, I reflect on it. And I was thinking, okay, was that really coming from a place of it's seva and I was standing up for it? Or did I have an attachment to the position? Even if that position was for the greater good. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? For instance, you know, it might be something about fairness. Oh, okay, they're a new teacher, and just because they're new, people say, no, you cannot teach. You, the senior person, teaches. And then I might go to bat for it and say, it's not right. When will they ever get their experience? Let it go, let them teach, you know? Sit back and support them. So I have to think, is it because I'm attached to justice That's why I'm supporting it? Or is it just out of kartavya of being a senior teacher who wants to support? And I have to really do some soul searching. And it may seem altruistic. It is altruistic on one level. It would earn me merit from the karmic bhog, etc. perspective. But I had to ask myself that. I was a lawyer. I pick up the flag for what's right or wrong very easily. I speak it out. I get behind it. I'm attached to my position. Are you seeing moh in that? Can you see? It's a very clear example. And it's very subtle. The mind is very, very tricky. And I had to go through each of those things to say, oh, wow, I didn't realize it, but there was a subtlety of attachment, value, like it's an elevated position versus dislike, or just responsibility as a senior teacher to support. And it's a fine line, and only you can know where the truth rests. It's a huge thing, this all of our life is a continuous battle for me, mine, and I. Me, myself, and I, right? And we know Arjun goes to the battlefield. He's ready to fight. He's going to fight. He doesn't have a problem with it until what? Oh, those are mine. So mine becomes me. Yes? And then he has to fight his own mind. That conflict is the hardest, which we've discussed, right? Since the beginning of our journey together. Did you hear those three layers? You know, what is me is difficult externally. This is mine, that people, belonging, mine, second degree of conflict. But when the conflict is you, mo, and kartavya, between your own mind, between your own self, that's a very difficult battle to succeed in. We lose hosh. We don't stay aware. That's when we go more towards Duryodhan. You know? We get blinded, or maybe not even Duryodhan, but Dhritarashtra. Complete tamas, complete like, I don't want to see. We can also see that in some people, no? This is a very, very big self-searching journey. Just this one point that we're talking about. Do you take your actions because of moh or kartavya? I mean, as a parent, you do all kinds of things for your children. This is a very, very close issue, delicate issue, if you give this as an example. Is it because my child, which reflects something about you, or is it kartavya? Is it out of attachment, or is it, this is a child that I need to bring and raise and give all that I have to, and I do my best without feeling an ego boost because they did or didn't do something? It's very difficult. Our spouse, I give you a real example. Someone is married, and the person is really hung up on the looks of their partner. You know, I want them to look a very specific way, whatever that might be, 24-inch waist, or, you know, six-pack, or and biceps, whatever it might be. But the person, when they married, was not that. You know, it would be like saying, I wish my mom was my uncle. No, your mom's your mom, not your uncle. So suddenly, if somebody would say to me, it would be great, Didi, if you were, you know, not 5'6" and 5'4", it would be awesome. It'd be great for me. Doesn't make any sense. Why does that? Because somehow they feel it's a reflection of themselves if that person is not fitting into this social, you know, sabashi, social praise that one would get from having a hot partner. You can't openly say, well, sometimes it comes out of my mouth, but not supposed to, I understand it. Like then at some point you say, listen. You want to really hear what's going on? I'm sorry, and then you say, but that's the accountability we have to hold ourselves to. Are you still with me, or did you get lost somewhere? Are you with me? If we didn't do any more, and we just dropped the Bhagavad Gita at this verse, at this conversation, from this perspective, it's more than enough. Because it says, that's your journey. Hold yourself accountable. What's driving you? The battle outside with others, battle with those you consider mine, battle with you and your own ideas of who you're supposed to be, or battle within your own mind between what you know to be that which leads you to something higher, greater, ethics, morality, etc., or battle towards tamas, taking the easy way out, getting caught up in entanglement, attachment, so that you justify and reason and give a story and continue that web. I don't have, the stuff, it's in my bedroom, otherwise I'd show you. There's like 6 different sticky pads there, with 6 different things. And I was noticing, they're all around justice. Maybe I came in with a deep vasana around justice, which I know, but somehow, no, it's not right. We have to do these. Wait, who made me the police? Be quiet, do what you want, don't do it, let them be. Let them be. Let it be. You see? But then there's freedom. Like you can't judge yourself for it, but you find yourself like, and something frees up. Suddenly energy moves. There's nothing stuck. You're not eating up your own life force to keep up the spider's web. Okay. Ala.
ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्महवीर् ब्रह्माग्नौ ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्म कर्म समाधिना.
This one we all know, right? We chant when we eat, isn't it? We know this one. All right, so in the practice of seeing Brahma everywhere as a form of sacrifice, Brahma is the ladle with which oblation is poured into the fire. Brahma again is the oblation, is the fire. Brahma itself is the sacrificer. And so Brahma itself constitutes the act of pouring the oblation into the fire. And finally, Brahma is the goal to be reached by him who is absorbed in Brahma as the act of such sacrifice. Okay. This is far bigger than how I had understood it before. Somehow it was like everything is God. The food is God, everything is God, and we eat, and I kind of had it like that in my head, In the practice of seeing Brahma everywhere as a form of sacrifice, ladle, oblation, fire, the sacrificer, and Brahma itself constitute the act of pouring the oblation in the fire. So, they're talking about when there's a yajna. That wooden spoon where they pour the ghee, that the ghee itself, the fire itself, the burning itself, the act of pouring itself, this is all seen as what? Brahma, God, divine. I'm saying it simply. So this is a big verse, actually. Now I understand what's going on. 18 to 24 was building up to this verse. All that we've been discussing, you know, the screen and the dream and the dreamer and the one lying down, all those things, you have to go back to that, is building up to this verse 24. So listen. So is the conclusion everything is God? From Advaita Vedanta perspective, from that verse, the fire, the one doing the offering, the ladle, the pouring, is it all God? Is that what the conclusion is? Everything is God? From Advaita Vedanta perspective. First of all, it also says the action is also consciousness. Did you hear that? It's not just the things. Our actions are also consciousness. I'm going to get stuck with words now, but I have to be clear now with you. This is a big verse, okay? It's a very, very big verse. If we get it, maybe he says, let it be. I don't know. Is the conclusion everything is God? You have to raise your hand, vote, yes or no. How many say yes? And how many say no? Every action, question mark. Yeah, every action is also God. Most people are behind camera. It's okay. I'll let it be. I hope that you're listening to me and contemplating this. You see, if you say everything is God, that's non-dual. That's not Advaita Vedanta. Are you listening? If you see, oh, there's a screen and then there's what's projected on the screen. And both are God. Is that Advaita Vedanta or is that non-dual thinking? Because there's two in here, correct? The screen and all what's being projected. So that's two. That's not one. We're saying two exist and they're both God. Ding, ding, ding. When we first start out, I'm thinking out loud with you, okay, a little bit, because it struck me for the first time. I didn't hear it that way ever before. When we start out, we see everything as one, but from the ignorant sense, meaning it's all just me. My thoughts are me, my body is me, my emotions are me, my likes are me, my beliefs are me, my dislikes are me. It's all me, me, me. Oneness. Just the ignorant oneness. Are we clear? Yes? Then, ding, we're suddenly going to be spiritual and we do Kriya and we meditate and we do Seva and then you listen to the knowledge and you go, what? I'm not this body. I'm not this mind. I'm not these emotions. I'm not my beliefs, my assumptions, my opinions, my likes, my dislikes. Oh, there's two. There's me and the body. There's me and the mind. There's me and the emotions. There's me and other. Oh, I didn't realize that. Oh, I'm enlightened. But no, have you reached the journey? Is that the end of the journey? No, that's not the end of the journey. That's step one. And in that phase, we go, why did this happen? They're driving me crazy because now they want you to go from 2 to 1. I was already thinking, it's all one, la la la, ignorance was bliss. And then I woke up a little bit like Arjun, I'm not quite where I need to be, but I woke up a little and I realized, just like the fingers are not me, they're mine, and me and mine, and what's mine is, so body is not me. It comes and goes. I'm not saying it's established, right? But it does clearly come and go. I'm not my thoughts. I'm not my emotions. Now there's 2. So then they say, so who are you? If you're not the body, if you're not the mind, if you're not the emotions, if you're not, then who are you? Oh, wow. I'm the witness. Witness. Okay, so there's me and everything I witnessed. That's 2. Have we reached the end of the journey yet? No. So then we say, Jagat Mithya, that whole conversation that we get into, it's an illusion, it's Maya. I feel and see this phone, and if I throw it at my computer, crash my computer, it's not an illusion. Haven't you gone through this headache in your system? What are you talking about? It's an illusion. It's a wrong word. Mithya means false, not illusion. See, this is a necklace. Does it exist? A necklace, does it exist? This thing does exist, but it's silver. Platinum. Are you with me? We're seeing name and form, and we make that truth. But the truth is the screen, not what you see. It doesn't mean this is not existing. Whatever is happening on the screen is there. But it's not what it appears to be. It appears to be a solid. Is it solid? Is it solid? No, Vishnu, wrong. It's not an affirmative. It's all porous. Just like my skin is porous, this is porous, maybe not as porous as my skin, but it's porous. Marble is porous, the wall is porous, this wood is porous. You can't put water on this computer because it seeps in. It's gold, called a bracelet, called a ring, called a necklace, called an earring, called a crown, called an anklet, called a belt, called whatever. It's gold. The name and form, just like in your dream, they appear to be solid. It's not that they're not there. They are there. Talk to the dreamer. See, if the statement is everything is God, then that's a statement that everything is existing. It has an independent existence. But it's not the case. It's what Vivekananda said. I think it's Vivekananda said, God is, everything is not. Then it's Advaita Vedanta. God is, everything is not. See? So it's so amazing, The, the hand that offers the food, just like in the yagya, the spoon that offers the ghee, the offering. The hand that offers the food is Brahman. The mouth into which the food is offered is Brahman. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? The chewing, the act of chewing, the act of the fire and the digestion is Brahman. You know, when you eat from this place, when you see not just eating but everything, the action of eating, the action of digesting, the fire in the belly that actually digests the food, the hand that's bringing the food to the mouth, the instrument which is being fed is all Brahman. It's not that those things are God. It's all Brahman. God is. Everything is not. It doesn't exist. It's not a hand that exists. You call it a hand, but it's Brahman. You call it a bracelet, but it's gold. You're calling it a necklace, but it's gold. You're calling it earrings, but it's gold. You're calling it a crown, but it's gold. You're putting it on your ankle, but it's gold. You're putting it around your waist, but it's gold. You're putting it in your ear and it's in your nose, it's gold. But we have become attached to the name and the form. Is not. I think I just got enlightened for a bleep. Meaning, this is very beautiful. I bet you will not eat the same way at least today or tomorrow or maybe for the next week. You know, this hand, that's, have you seen those priests when they come and they set up with the spoons and the little, you know, first of all, they purify it, they honor it, they put that kusha grass around it, correct? And then they do that. That has to be pure. The ghee is purified. It's offered into the fire. The fire is not fire, it's Agni Dev. They invoke, there are two things, right, which we don't see. Fire, the way we understand it, or Agni, Devta. So during the Homa, it's not fire, it's Agni Dev. That's why they don't stick the thing and start stirring it around like we think, because it's Agni Dev. You are putting, you know, it's so beautiful. Isn't it so beautiful? The way you honor, then you start to see, see, at this stage, for us to say, I am God, is very different from saying God is within me. We're not ready to say, I am God. Nobody's, here. We're not there. But we could have a glimpse of God is in me. And if from no other place, just that your heart carries the Guru and the honor and the respect for something higher and the search for the divine, means God is in you. Otherwise, you'd be searching for, the next bar to go to on a Tuesday night. Right? Do you see? This is a gift. Doesn't matter what we covered or not, but you hear this, The hand is like the instrument. The mouth is the pit, the Homa pit. The fire, the ghee, the food, the Agni in the body. That's why we say 5 types of prana, correct? And prana is Devi Shakti. It's just the other side of the stillness and the activity. Action is inherent in consciousness. Consciousness does not act. Don't get it mixed up. In this phase, in purity of prana, life force, it's momentum. Okay, my chatter time is up. I'm gonna go make dinner. I'll be like having my own little flirt with food. All right, how lovely. Good place to end. Maybe some of you have already had dinner. Some of you are going to now have dinner, as the case may be. Tomorrow is Shivratri, okay? So 5:30 a.m. online with Bangalore, and at least for PST, and then at 2:30 in the afternoon PST. Shiva, Krishna, food, fire, digestion, Agni. Even today in the afternoon or the morning, Gurudev was saying, no, it's all Shiva. Remember? It was a similar topic, actually, if you saw it. He was saying similar sort of conversation. Let it be. Whatever we got, we got. What went over our heads, whatever we are like, oh, what? Just a good time, and that's it. You know? All right. Eyes closed just for 10 seconds. Okay. What you're calling the breath, in or out. Brahman. The lungs, it gets poured into. Brahman. Movement of vital force throughout the body. Divine force. The thoughts, the crackle of the fire in the homa, the thoughts, the emotions, the heat from the fire, the heat of your own body. There's only the one. The pressure against the body where you sit. The saliva in your mouth, the flicker of the eye, the movement, sound against your eardrums, the act of swallowing, the taste in the mouth, the heat and moisture in the eyes. It is not the name, it is not the form, it is Brahman. God is. Everything is not. Good thinking, bad thinking, slow thinking, fast thinking, God is. the elation or the calm, the fatigue, Brahman. Jai Gurudev. Enjoy your dinner. Go. God bless. Jai Gurudev. Any major thoughts, comments, questions? Vishal, yeah, please.
Yeah, Didi, you had explained that this is not Advaita. And so what you're saying is that there's duality. Um, I mean, there's duality, but but the non-dual is different. So non-dual is everything
Yes.
is just an extension of Brahman, right? But duality is okay, these are two things. One is impermanent and the other is permanent. Like Vivekananda said, this is God is and this is not. So it still recognizes the existence of duality, but saying one is
No, no,
not
if you
God.
say God is,
Yeah,
that's it.
right.
Everything is not. So you're saying there's nothing more. But if you say, this and this, then you're seeing duplicity. Even
Right.
if you say it's all God, you're saying those two things are God. Two can't exist. That's not Advaita Vedanta.
Right. So Advaita and non-dual is the same thing, right? Then essentially.
No, I'm not a good person for this, but non-dual is a type of philosophy where in which they say two, to say this is God and that is also God is non-dual philosophy. Are you with me? They're saying in essence the same thing, but
Hmm.
we, Advaita Vedanta, will say there's a third step. There is a third step. We don't have to get to the third step, but I was just saying, based on what I read, what struck me was like, oh, you know, it just made a subtle difference in my head between the body, the mind, da da da, is also God. That means they both exist. There's two. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Yes? There's
There's
the witness, the seer, and the scenery. There's two. And then we say, oh, but the seer and the scenery are both God.
yeah, because God the anime.
But that's not Advaita
Mhm.
Vedanta.
Okay.
Because your dream is not. Only the dreamer is. Or the one lying down is. Don't you see? That's a third step. It's a very subtle nuance, but it's profound, actually. I can't explain it in any other way, I suppose, because I'm not yet so solidified and clear. It's just something that's popping to me as I was reading that.
Well, if you explain it in the context of the person sleeping and dreaming, then
Okay.
there is no. It's only everything is an illusion. Basically, it doesn't even exist, right? It doesn't even have any kind
Okay,
of reality.
let's not use those words. Let's
Yeah.
stay very pragmatic in the language. I want you to think about this, all right? Rajshree Patel lies down. Rajshree Patel in quote reality lies down. She has a dream. And within the dream, she exists and all the objects exist. The whole world exists, right? If we say the objects dreamed and the Rajshri in the dream and Rajshree the dreamer and the quote real Rajshree, right? They are all one. Then you're saying that those things exist. The objects that were dreamed and the dreamed Rajshree and the dreamer Rajshree. No, it's all one consciousness. Everything you see is in the in consciousness space of consciousness. It's one consciousness. An apparent dreamer, apparent created objects and world and so on. So you wouldn't really say that the dream and the dreamer and that are Rajshree, because you're giving reality, you're giving existence to something as if it can be independent of Rajshree Patel, the quote real Rajshree Patel. It cannot be. It has no independent existence.
Yeah.
So that's why you would say there's only God, everything else is not.
Okay.
Don't you see? No?
No. Are there three levels you said? Because one is the
Yeah. The
dreamer and
first
the
level
dream.
is the ignorance and, For now, just don't, you can't try to grasp it all. You have to go one step at a time. Everything, the seer and the scenery were one at one point. Then we learn to separate the seer and the scenery. And then we go to the step, well, what is the scenery? It's all the seer. You see? It's the projection of Rajshree's mind is all of that. There's nothing else other than that. There's no separate existence.
Just like the dreamer and the dreamt objects.
So we do not have a separate existence. I mean, if you get that, it's, it feels a little scary on a certain level because the small mind has to go, because it walks around,
Yeah.
I'm all that. I'm going to
Yeah.
do all that. You're going to do nothing. Your actions are, the dream has all these actions. It's the consciousness.
But when we wake up from a dream, we know that, right? That was all a dream. In this case, until we sort of dissolve, quote unquote, dissolve the identity and all the whatever BS that goes on, we don't even have a chance
But you
to
see, you
recognize, to
just
go
went
back to the
into
source.
two. You just went into two. You just divided until we dissolve, it's all one. It's not,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all about nothing exists. Not even that person dissolving.
name and form don't exist. It's all gold. The name, bracelet, and the form round does not exist. It's gold. See the truth. It's gold. See the underlying reality, which is creating this name form, which has a dependency. If you take away the gold, the bracelet cannot exist, neither the name or the form.
Yeah. If you take away the mind of the sleeping Rajshri, then the entire dream is meaningless. It's just
No, it's not
codependent.
meaningless. It cannot exist. It does not have an independent existence.
But what struck me was when you said that this is all, so it's like running after anything in the state of becoming and is all so futile to a certain degree, right? It's like, what are you running after? It's just another image or another
No, but
object, another
now if
person.
you know that, then
Yeah.
you can do the action that was described in 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 verse. Then you don't get caught up in the attachment of the action and you don't get caught up or less caught up in the fruit of the action. If you really get that, then you act, I'm saying this to Vishnu also, You're not, oh, I feel bad, I cannot, I feel shy. You don't need, there's certain kind of freedom that comes from that. Yeah. It's futile. It's like sitting there. You win a lottery in your dream, and then you build a house in your dream, and you work hard to make sure you get the right architect for your house, and you get it. You want the ocean, so you fight to with the city to get, I don't know, zoning, and it's Palos Verdes, so they don't let you build higher than 1 story, and you do all that. It's a dream.
Yeah.
It's a projection. It's a dream. And then you wake up and you go, oh, it was a dream. It was such a good dream. I can't believe you woke me up. You know, I was almost there. Oh, okay, go back to sleep.
Somehow interpreting knowledge in that context of dreamer and dreamt is so easy. It's 10 times easier versus not having that context and just processing it.
So
I feel.
that's the rishis, you know,
Yeah.
that's how they've always spoken about it, that example.
Yeah.
It's a very ancient example.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, because it's hard to say that I'm a dream, right? It's hard to say this is a dream, isn't it? I mean, for me it is, because it's such a long dream and the characters have become so established that it's very difficult to think that, and until you have the experience, here we are. But then start to ask yourself this question, even in your reality, isn't it all just a projection of your mind and your judgment and your perspective, and I like it or I don't like it? The same exact thing doesn't mean the same thing to everybody. True or false?
True.
So then it's not in the object, it's in the person, the mind, you, the real you, if you want to call yourself real, but it's not happening. I like her, I don't like her. She's good, she's bad. I'm just a blob of muscle, bone, skin. She's good. What's good or bad? That's your mind. And if I take it on, then it's my mind. But there's nothing in here that's been called good or bad. Right? Nothing. It's none of those things are real. Think about it. Just really think about this very basic truth. All that you have challenges about, it's in your head. Somebody else moves through it without a problem. You yourself sometimes move through it without a problem. And some other times you're bogged down with it. This is so amazing. This is nothing but some metal, plastic thing. The word amazing is in you. You have given it value versus your self-value. We talked about this 2 sessions ago with the gulab jamun example. You know, value is given by you, not in the thing. So that's another dream. Don't you see how it's a dream? It's a mirage. It's a spider's web that we are caught in. And we go on reinforcing it. That's the problem. And what happens is we come into knowledge, we get into this discussion, and we start to dismantle. You know, and it's a little unnerving. So we keep trying to find a way to hold it. It's as big as it is, there's a little bit of unnerving that comes because some part of you dies. Some part of your way of knowing, doing, acting, thinking, choosing dies. Because then now you're in the unknown. So then what? And the mind wants to know, give me a formula. If you want me to let this go, give me the next formula. Then I'll let this go. All this that you say, A, it makes sense. I get it. Actually, I don't just get it, but I tend to see it as my experience, not agree or disagree. My experience, that's what I'm talking about. You have your experience where your mind is nothing but poo-poo. You have that experience. Gurudev says, how many times has your perception been wrong? How long did that perception go on? How many times was it wrong? You know? So then you say, oh yeah, oh yes, that is my experience. But what? How? When? We grab. Why? Because you want a formula. If I'm going to let A go, you better tell me what B is, because I'm scared. Because I see myself as a separate, individuated entity, not one. But again and again, you rely on your experience, so then you take a little bigger risk. Even though you don't have formula for B, you still keep walking towards B. See that? Very tricky, our mind. It needs to be in charge. It needs, because the belief is I am a separate thing. The piece of gold is fighting with a piece of bracelet. I'm different. Dude, we're all gold. You just hang here and the other one hangs here, you know. But it's very hard. At the age of 2, 3 on, we start to see the world with separate. Billions of objects in front of us, and people and situations and possibilities and variables. So then we find a way to survive. You know, we find a way to keep it together. You can't keep this world together. What are we crazy? You can play in it, but we try to keep it together. That doesn't mean you act foolishly, right? You do what you do. You play the game. Krishna Bhagwan plays the game. Gurudev plays the game. Knowing gold is at the basis of all these things. Knowing that I am the consciousness within which all this exists. Okay, last thing. In space, do you exist? Yes or no? Nod your head. We exist in space. Yes, here I am. There you are. All the things that you have, all the things, starting from the pen to the cell phone, to the big furniture, to your vault with your jewelry in it, your car, your house. Does it all exist in space? Yes. Yeah. How about all the people you love and you hate and you're indifferent to? Do they exist in the same space? Yes, right? Your friend, your enemy, your neighbor, the strangers, people who you'll never meet living in, I don't know, Tanzania, I don't know, somewhere. They exist in the same space, correct? In space, they exist in one localized place. What if the space exists in consciousness? I'm trying to show you the dependency. You cannot be a separate thing. We're all intertwined in one space. A tree. I often give this example. Is the tree from the roots that you can see to the top of the branch, is that a tree? What about the roots you cannot see? That's part of the tree, right? It can't exist. What about the branches that are going to continue to grow that have not yet grown? What about the earth? Is that part of the tree? People? Yes or no? It is. What about the air in which the tree and the branches are? Is that part of the tree? Yes, because if you put a rock over it, it can't be a tree anymore. It'll be mulch. What about the rain that has not yet come? Is that a tree? Yes or no? It is. The sun, which will be there tomorrow morning, is it a tree? You may not, because you've compartmentalized it. Don't you see? It's the mind that has divided it all up, and that's why we suffer. Okay, you have a mountain, and then you have this thing that goes down and it's flat. Is the flat part a mountain? Ding ding, yes or no? It is. It's just flat there. Sometimes you go on top of a mountain and it's flat. Isn't it up there? This is just flat down here. Okay, is this mountain a flat part? Yes, it is. It's one continuum. You just decided to call from this thing to this thing a mountain and this thing flat. And now you've got two things. Is it two things? No. Does it make you feel safer to call it a thing or to say mountain and valley? You feel safer, mountain and valley. Plateau and base. You feel safer because you feel in charge. It's a thing. No? Think about it. A tree. What next time you go out there, you look at the tree, you will see that tree is not the root to the edge. So next time you think about your own body, it is not from the toe to the head. Just think about it. The gravity which you cannot see holds you where you are. The earth, you have a dependency on it, just like the air in which and the space in which the tree grows. There's a dependency on the space. The earth. The tree can't exist without earth and the soil and the globe earth, I'm even saying. And the birds, are those trees? Hello. The birds are trees. It's just that you're calling them a bird, just like you're saying plateau, base, peak, ledge, ooh, flat, ooh, valley. Dude, they're just labels. They don't actually exist. It's a name and a form. Doesn't it stir you up into like, get out of my way. Just let me be. Yes or no? No, I'm seriously asking you. I'm not convincing you. You cannot have if you take the earth away, the tree is gone. If you don't give it space, there's no more branches. So the space is just like the extension of the mountain. It's just less visible, but you call it sky. There's not a tree. It's a tree. It's a tree. What about the little birds and the bee? Yeah, it's a tree. But we call them bees and the birds. Oh, the leaf. You can't handle it saying there. We can't handle that, so we have to leaf, a branch, a trunk, roots, deep roots, roots that spread out. Oh my God. No wonder the head hurts. Then you say, oh, Pramod, okay. Don't you see? It's like the tree, the sky. There's something binding. But we don't. So then we hold on. He said, she said, they did. Get over it. No, the birds come and poop on the tree. The tree doesn't freak out because it's itself. Oh, you pooped on me. Shake it off. Don't come on me again. Okay. Someone, Sarah, are you hearing what I'm saying to you? It's a tree. Drip, drip. It's a tree. Walk, go out. That's why they say, no, the masters, go be in nature, because you sit there and at one point, the air and the whistle of the leaves and the tree and the birds, and somehow it all feels like, oh, they're all talking in one pulse. Oh. And then, it's maybe a little blue star, God forbid, but that's how it is. All right. I love you guys. Jai Gurudev.